Well, there's growing concern over the health of the Pope. Diagnosed with pneumonia in both lungs, Pope Francis is still in hospital and his diary has now been cleared until the end of the week, although the 88-year-old is said to be in good spirits. Well, we're joined now by Seema Gupta in Rome, our correspondent there. Seema, what are you hearing then? What's the latest about the Pope's health?
Well, the Vatican has said that Pope Francis spent a peaceful fifth night at the Gemelli Hospital here in Rome. He slept well and he got up and had his breakfast. Now, all good signs considering late in the evening on Tuesday, we had a medical bulletin by the Vatican saying that a further chest CT scan on Tuesday showed that he had indeed developed pneumonia in both lungs. Now, this comes after a diagnosis of a complex situation that he had polymicrobial respiratory tract infection. And what that essentially means is that he had a situation of mixed microbes in the lungs or in the respiratory tract. And so that is lending itself to a complex situation in terms of treatment. What we understand is that he's now getting a cortisone antibiotic therapy. So both of those. And we'll just have to see how those meds actually work. You have to give it some time. Of course, concerned because Pope Francis, as a young man, had also part of his lung removed. So this, of course, makes one's concerns when it comes to respiratory infections. And we have seen him dealing with this in the last few years. But reports quoting Vatican sources say that he's breathing on his own, that he seems to be holding up fairly well in terms of his heart condition as well, and that he's not lying in bed all day and actually does sit up in an armchair doing work on and off and even making phone calls. So all good signs, but clearly they're insisting on complete rest. Hence, the clearing of his scheduled through the weekend, even though, of course, there were scheduled events related to the Catholic Jubilee Holy Year, which is this year. But he's not going to be participating in that on Saturday, as well as not presiding over Mass on Sunday.
So you say there's some positive signs in terms of his general health sitting up. Do we know how long they expect him to stay in the hospital then?
Well, they've been very clear. They've given no time frame at all. An interview with a close friend of the Pope, a Jesuit theologian, Antonio Spadario. He gave an interview to an Italian daily, Corriere della Sera, and he said he thought the Pope could even be in hospital for up to 2 to 3 weeks. But that's his opinion. We still don't know anything from the Vatican, and they're not giving a time frame. Clearly, they want him to have complete rest. Mr. Spadario did say, however, that he has extraordinary energy and is not in a resigned position. Now, there is some speculation. Does this mean if he's not able to carry out his duties that he may step aside like his predecessor did, Pope Benedict XVI? But Pope Francis has said he's never going to rule that out altogether, but he said it would only happen if he felt he had a serious impediment to doing his job. So clearly, for the moment, he's in his position. He's getting the rest that he needs. And as I mentioned, cancel those work commitments. We'll just have to see how those meds kick in. In the meantime, at the Gemelli Hospital, there is a statue of former Pope John Paul II outside the hospital, and people have placed candles, pictures of the Pope, and we've seen the faithful bowed there, kneeling there, praying for his help. Lots of concern among the faithful as well as the media gathered at the hospital, wondering what's going to happen next in terms of Pope Francis's health.
OK, well, we'll have to leave it there. Seema Gupta there speaking to us.